Welcome to the station. Welcome to the station.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Station Podcast, where we don't run from it, we grow from it. This is the Station Talk, where your refuel is a must. Now, let me do this really quickly. I was super excited last week. I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't even take the time to introduce myself. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name of AJ, Pastor AJ, Albert, whatever you want to call me, and I'm your host of Station Talk. Station Talk is the place where we bridge the gap between reality and spirituality. Station Talk is the place where we get everything that we need. As I say, you don't go to the gas station because you're good. You go to the gas station simply because you need something. And many of you have gotten on this podcast today because you're expecting to be refueled. So today is something I believe, today's topic, I believe, is something that we all, no matter if you're Christian, no matter if you're religious, no matter if you're spiritual, no matter if you're just trying to figure life out, no matter if you don't believe in whatever you don't believe in, whatever, I believe all of us have had an issue or a struggle, let me say struggle, with forgiveness and healing. Forgiveness and healing. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about it here on the station. We're going to have station talk on healing and forgiveness. Now, last week I dealt with you don't have to be perfect to be in position. You don't have to be a perfect Susie. You don't have to be a perfect Paul. You don't have to have it all together to be in position. And we said that many of us are missing out on where we're supposed to be, or missing out on what God has for our life, or missing out on what our purpose is for our lives because we're trying to wait to perfect ourselves, when you just get in position and the perfecting would happen as you grow and as you go. But after you're in the position, you have to exemplify some forgiveness. You have to exemplify some healing. Let's be honest, y'all. Let's talk about it. Can we talk about it? We keep it real here at the station. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We've all been hurt. We've all had to figure out how to move forward from whatever the situation was, whatever the person was, whatever the prognosis was, whatever the dilemma was that caused you some level of pain, that caused you some level of hurt. We all have had, as some people would say, put your big boy pants on. For the girls, put your big girl shoes on, and move past the pain, move past the hurt, and exemplify what you and I have struggles with sometimes, called forgiveness. Healing is necessary for our growth, and forgiveness is necessary for our freedom. Let me say that again. Healing, the stuff we have to do, the hard things we have to deal with. Healing is necessary for our growth, and forgiveness is necessary for our freedom. Okay, some of you may have heard it like this. Forgiveness is not for the next person. The forgiveness is simply for you. Your healing is necessary because if you're forgiving and then not taking time to heal, then you're going to end up in the same place. Now, here's just my philosophy of it. Let me just say this really quickly, too. I'm nobody's doctor. I don't have a PhD, but I do have life experiences. And how many of you can agree and say that life experiences is your best teacher? It's one thing to read it in the book. but it's another to really experience it and learn from your experiences. Let me say this too really quickly, because I've always forget to do this really quickly. While I got your attention, I need you to like, I need you to share, and I need you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Y'all see that button right there? Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe to it. Um, the reality of what many of us have dealt with is that the hurt has kept us bound. The hurt that you've experienced from that person, the hurt that you've experienced from that relationship, that hurt that you've experienced from that family member, that hurt that you've experienced at that job, or that hurt that you experienced at that church, because y'all know some of us who endured church hurt. And let me just fix that really quickly. The church didn't hurt you. The people in the church hurt you. So there's a difference. But we've experienced that hurt, and we've experienced that pain, and we've allowed that pain to keep us bound. And let me tell you something really quickly. I want to give this to you for free, and I want to drop this in some of y'all laps really quickly. If you do not know this, write this down. Pain does not discriminate. Pain does not discriminate. It doesn't discriminate. It hits everybody at some point and some time. It hits you and it hurts. But we cannot allow the hurt to keep us bound. Because here's what happens when we allow the pain to keep us paralyzed. Here's what happens when we allow the hurt to keep us in the place of being captive by the hurt. Unhealed pain will have you reacting out on people that didn't even hurt you. Unhealed hurt and unhealed pain will have you spazzing and have you doing things to people that wasn't even the offender. Oh, but because it was similar or because it triggered you, it took you there. Let me help somebody really quickly. Stop allowing triggers to take you there, and take the time to heal so that you won't be triggered by the trigger. Okay, I know it's difficult for some people, but that's just the reality of what we need to do, because your pain and your hurt has now caused you to be guarded. Your pain and your hurt has now caused you to move differently and stop trusting people, and it's caused you to give everybody the side eye. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, you have to vet people. Yes, you have to surveillance people, this, that, and the third. But everybody that come into your life, everybody that come into your path aren't people to hurt you. Some people are really God sent. Some people are really sent on purpose for purpose. But if you have that hurt and if you have that pain that you have not dealt with, then you'll be reacting to people out of hurt. You'll be responding more out of your emotions instead of your intellect. And let me just help you really quickly. Don't allow your emotions to cause you to be infected. Don't allow your emotions to cause you to be infected. I'm really starting to realize that many people are infected by their emotions because they have not dealt with the hurt and the pain that they've experienced. And you do know, let me just say this really quickly. You do know it takes longer for an infection to heal than it is for a scab or a little puncture or something that you just got to put a band-aid on. But if you don't treat it the right way, and if you don't handle it the right way, it will become infected. I think a lot of people have allowed their emotions to allow them to become infected because you didn't take time to heal. You didn't take time to deal with the pain, and you have to deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, it'll deal with you. I tell people, man, self go everywhere self go. And self will expose itself after a while if you don't deal with self. Now, the Bible says, can I be preachy for a moment? I am a pastor, sorry, y'all, that your sins will find you out. And a lot of times when you don't take time to deal with yourself, self go everywhere that self go. And then you wonder why you done moved all around and been all around and had new people come in your life, but yet you keep losing people in your life and you keep having the same experiences in your life because you ain't dealt with the hurt and the pain that's really deep inside of you. It takes work. It takes a lot of work to admit and be real with yourself. Like, you know what, bro? You know what, sis? It wasn't me. You know what, fam? It wasn't me. It wasn't you. It was me. Excuse me. You got to deal with self. Self has to be dealt with. Just because something happened to you, watch this, doesn't mean you have to let that stay in you. Just because something happened to you does not mean you have to let that situation stay in you. You got to get to the point of, I'm moving past that. You got to get to the point of, you know what? He or she, they, the situation at the job or whatever it was, yes, it happens. But you know what? I'm going to forgive and move past because now I'm in self bondage because of me not forgiving. I'm in self bondage because I did not exemplify a level of forgiveness for my own freedom. Here's what unforgiveness does. Can we talk about it? Can we be honest? It keeps you and I mentally stuck. Some of you are mentally stuck because you have not taken the time to forgive. Well, what do you mean you're mentally stuck? You can't move past it. What do you mean you mentally stuck? It keeps replaying over in your mind, over and over and over and over again. You trying to figure out how it could have been handled a different way. You're trying to figure out how the results could have came a different way. You're trying to figure out how you could have did this, how you could have did that. When it's like, yo, just forgive it. Just forgive it and forget it. Yeah, I like that. Just forgive it and forget it. And when you don't exemplify forgiveness and you have unforgiveness, it affects your peace. It affects your family. It affects your relationships. It affects your marriages. It affects your job. It affects everything that's around you. It affects your growth as a whole because you have not exemplified forgiveness. Do me a favor in the comments really quickly. Just type let it go. Let it go. One of my daughter's favorite movies. She's 11 now, but we used to watch Frozen all the time. And I think the song is with Elsa or one of those characters. I don't know, but the song simply said, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I don't know how it went, but I think it went something like that. But we got to learn to let things go. Why you holding on to things that happened 6 months ago? Why you holding on things that happened 2-3 years ago for some of y'all? And for some of us, why you holding on to things that happened yesterday when today's a new day? Matter of fact, how can I handle today if I'm still worried about what happened yesterday? How can I handle the new offenses that's going to come in my life if I'm still dealing with the old offenses? Nah, let me help you with something. Something's going to happen every day in your life, whether it's good or whether it's bad. It's life. Life's ups and downs, they come and go. But you have to exemplify forgiveness. And here's what happens when we don't exemplify forgiveness to that person or to that situation. Can I help somebody? Can I really help y'all? The crazy part is that person that did it or that person that offended you, that a person that caused pain or that person that caused the hurt, they done moved on with their life. They living. They enjoying life. They on the beach somewhere. They done bought a new car. They on social media showing how they living their life. And you just mad because you still ain't forgave. You super mad. You big mad. You looking at them comments and you looking at how they living their life, this, down, the third. They done moved on, but you still stuck because you still exemplifying unforgiveness in your heart. Can I help you really quickly? Holding on to the pain doesn't punish them. It punishes you. Let me say that again. Holding on to hurt and holding on to pain does not punish the offender. It really punishes you. Holding on to that keeps you bound and it don't keep them bound because they done moved on. I'm trying to help y'all to see that we can't carry hurt. We can't carry pain. We got to talk about it. We got to get it out, get all that things that's festering in us that mean us no good. Talk about it, release it, forgive, and move forward. that's necessary, that has to happen. I can't carry unnecessary weight. You can't carry unnecessary weight. A lot of us trying to climb the ladder, but we can't climb the ladder because we're holding on to things that we need to forgive. We're holding on to unnecessary weights. And forgiveness is what gives us the freedom. Yes, I know y'all probably saying, yo, AJ, I know you saying forgiveness, but that's a hard thing to do. Man, that situation hurt me. That relationship hurt me. That marriage hurt me. I get it. It did. But can I help you? You're still here. Can I help you? You're still surviving. Can I help you? When you go through things that hurt you, that word endure comes up, which means to suffer but remain in existence. Those moments of suffering, those moments of pain, those moments of agony that you felt had to happen because it developed you. It showed you some stuff, but it should not keep you at a place of unforgiveness. You have to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the most freeing things you can do for yourself. Write it in the comments really quickly. I'm freeing myself. I'm not worried about nobody else. I'm freeing myself. How do I know that to be true, that you need to free yourself? If you've ever got on an airplane and they tell you, if we get into some type of accident or some type of turbulence and the masks come down, what's the first thing that the pilot or the flight attendants or the stewardess, I'm old school, would say? Please put the mask on yourself before you help anybody else. Can I help you really quickly? You can't help anybody else move on from things that hurt them or cause pain in them in their lives if you don't exemplify forgiveness for yourself first. It's necessary that you do it. You can remember what happened, but don't live in what happened. Remember, yes, but don't live in it. Some people living in things that people did to them 10, 20 years ago. That's a doggone shame. That's a doggone shame. We cannot allow ourselves to be bound by what hurt us, because I have a motto that says the same thing that hurts your heart will really help your heart. Matter of fact, the Bible says it was good that I was afflicted so that I may learn from its decrees. Are you doing more learning from it, or are you doing more complaining from it? And because you're complaining, you have not forgived and moved forward. You can remember what happened. You can remember what transpired without even revealing what happened. Some stuff means, and what does that mean by that? Some stuff, I mean, you don't have to talk about anymore. You know, you give energy to things when you talk about it. You know, you put things in the atmosphere when you're talking about things that don't need to be talked about no more. I don't know that to be true, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. What you speak will happen. What you sow, you will reap. And here's the reality: a lot of us are talking about things that don't even need to be talked about no more. Stop talking about it. Sometimes when people call me, man, I'm just gonna keep it real. Sometimes when I get phone calls about stuff, or and it's hard, right? Because I'm a pastor, but I'm gonna be very transparent with y'all. Sometimes I'm like, man, listen, man, we got to stop talking about it. We got to stop feeding this fire. Every time you feed this fire, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you expecting everybody to help put out a fire that you started. We can't feed it. We got to stop talking about it. We got to heal from it. We got to heal from it. And a lot of people don't know what it is to heal. Healing takes time. It does. Healing takes time. But if you're going to take that time to heal, you got to blot out distractions. You got to set up boundaries. You can't let certain things knock you off your square. When you got to be able to say, yo, I'm in my healing process right now. And you got to be able to be honest with yourself. You know what? Even people that are in relationships, or people that want to date but have not found the person to date yet, maybe it's not that you haven't found the person. Maybe you just have not took the time to heal. And because you have not took the time to heal, God can't reveal he or she to you, because he know that he or she is going to get hurt by you because you have not took the time to heal and first forgive yourself and forgive others. All that halfway healing ain't going to work. You need to be fully healed. I sometimes be asking people, are you healed or are you whole? Because whole, there's a difference between being healed and there's a difference between man being made whole. Because when you made whole, the things that they talk about don't affect you no more. But if you're still in the process of healing, it's still gonna bother you. It's still gonna affect you. You're gonna look at people with the side eye. You're gonna be looking at everybody different because you still in the process of healing when they're whole. Take time to heal. Take time to heal. Tap into what God's word says. Tap into who God is. In order to love others and in order to exemplify love, you first got to understand what real love is. I'm not talking about that eros love. I'm not talking about that surface love. I'm talking about that true agape love that God gives us, because God gives us true agape loves. He loves us through our failures. He loves us through our foolishness. He loves us through our pain. But we can't exemplify that with people and wonder why we're stuck, wonder why we can't move. Honestly, at the end of the day, you also need to exemplify what true forgiveness looks like through God, because you need something that keeps you grounded. Let me ask y'all a question for real, and I need y'all to answer in the comments if you could. Um, what or who keeps you grounded? I don't want to make it, too spiritual, but that's who I am. I am a man of God. I am a pastor, but what keeps you grounded? Or who do you turn to, or who's your outlet? Right? And I feel like a lot of people are stuck in their healing process. They're still stuck with the pain that they're dealing with because they don't have anything keeping them grounded. But you have to have a relationship with God. You have to have a foundation with God. Because if you don't have a foundation, you'll never be able to build off anything. You need the foundation. But how do we start healing? I gotta move because I know this is a broad topic and I'm trying to narrow it down and keep it at a level of 30 minutes like how I did with the first episode. I think I did a good job, y'all. And as this grows, I'm going to make them a little bit longer, but I want to keep your attention and I want to make sure I'm hitting the points and I'm hitting right to it. How do you start healing? Let's make this practical. I got some practical steps. The first thing that you do to acknowledge your healing is you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge it. You can't heal what you won't face. So the first thing you need to do, you have to acknowledge it. Then, after you acknowledge what uh, what it is that's hurting you, what it is that you need to face that you won't face, you got to stop feeding it. You got to stop constantly replaying it. You got to stop talking about it. You can't constantly relive it. You got to acknowledge it. You got to stop feeding it. And number 3, you gotta choose to forgive. You have to. Listen, let me tell you something. Every day you wake up, you're given a choice. Can I ask y'all, what are you doing with your choices? You got to choose to forgive, even if that's daily for some of you. If you got to forgive daily, if that's what you got to do to move past whatever's trying to keep you bound and for you to get your healing and to move past it, that's what you got to do. And you got to find something greater to anchor to. That's what I was just saying a couple of minutes ago. You got to have a foundation in God. Where are you anchored? I grew up in the church, so I'm going to tell you this story. They used to sing that song, My Soul is Anchored. Anybody grew up in the church like me, every church you went to, somebody knew how to sing, My Soul is Anchored. You knew that song. Y'all knew that song. And the song said, My soul is anchored in the Lord. But if you know anything about an anchor on a boat, the boat can't move when it's anchored because the anchor keeps it grounded. Even though the waves are hitting against the boat, even though the water is pressed against the boat, even though the wind is blowing like crazy, because I have an anchor, I'm not moving. You gotta choose to forgive daily, but you gotta find something greater to anchor to, whether it's your faith, whether it's in your purpose, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's your whatever it is, find the anchor. Mine is in my relationship with God. I don't know what yours is, but I would want to suggest that it should be in the relationship with God. And then the final one I would say is set boundary. Set boundaries. Here's the reality. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. I forgive you, but that does not mean I have to give you access for you to hurt me again. If a person keeps showing you they keep hurting you over and over again, at this point, you can't get mad at them because you keep giving them access. I exemplify forgiveness for certain things, but certain things you don't have to get access to. I forgive you, but I don't have to give you access. I'm going to limit my access. You can forgive someone and still choose my peace over proximity. I choose my peace over proximity. And that's necessary. You got to set boundaries. I set boundaries even when I wake up in the morning. I say, not today, devil. You ain't going to rise today. Get thee behind me, Satan. Even if ain't nothing going on, I already put it in the atmosphere. You got to set the boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean I give you access, but I am going to forgive you to free myself. Let me say this to you. Let me really say this to you, and I need you to hear me clear. You deserve peace. You deserve healing. You deserve to move forward. But you won't get there by holding yourself in unforgiveness. You won't get there by holding yourself in self-bondage. So today, I want to challenge you. Because I know some of you say, I forgive, but I won't forget. No, that's the wrong thing to say. You got to forgive and you got to let it go fully. Enough of us forgiving with limitations. What if God forgave us with limitations? What if God forgave us, but he said, I'm not going to give you grace anymore? Many of us know what it is to be a disciple, a follower of Christ. If you're a follower of Christ, you have to exemplify Christ-like tendencies. We got to stop halfway forgiving and giving fake apologies and fake forgiveness and exemplify full forgiveness. First episode, I'm not perfect, but I'm in position. But let me say this. Could it be that you can't get in position because you're not being real with yourself? Because you're not forgiven fully? Because you have not taken the time to heal and go through the process? I promise you, life would be so much easier if we just take the time and deal with ourselves before self deals with us. Healing is necessary. You're no good for nobody if you don't heal. You're no good for nobody if you don't exemplify forgiveness. I want to challenge you. If there's a friend, a brother, a cousin, a sister, a family member, somebody that you need to forgive, somebody that you need to say, I forgive you, I want to challenge you that you step out on faith, pray, and you ask God to give you the ammunition and the power to forgive and to take the time to heal. Because I promise you, you'll feel better, you'll live better, and you'll have peace. Listen, I need each and every one of you to take your time and think about this episode. Think about how it spoke to you. Think about that situation that you need to say, you know what? I need to go ahead and forgive it so I can be moved forward. So I can move forward in what I need to move forward in. Listen, if this episode has been a blessing to you and you like what you're hearing, I need you to like, share, and subscribe. Listen, the Station Podcast is the place where we don't run from it, we grow from it. This is the place where our refuel is a must. It's been a good time, y'all. I know it ain't been a long time, but it's been a good time. And I pray that you were fueled by today's episode. And I need you to make sure that you're subscribing and that you get the alerts of what's going on here at the Station Podcast. I want to take a shout out to Rags to Riches Foundation, to the Refuel Station Church, who are our sponsors. And listen, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to see things go to the next level here, if you got some episodes that you know you want to bring to the Station Podcast, go ahead and put it in the comments. Make sure y'all talk back with me. But until next time, I'll see you next week on the Station Podcast. Peace.